this morning. How are you all doing? I just need to adjust quickly. How are you all doing? Yeah, so we started a little behind. We are good and we are live. Welcome to my live stream, my weekly live stream. Today is Friday, the 29th of May 2026. So May is winding down, right? What have you been able to achieve? What have you been able to achieve? If this is your first time joining me on my weekly live stream, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know your name and where you're joining me from. I am Elizabeth Omowurare, the productivity strategist. I am Elizabeth Omowurare, the productivity strategist. Thank you all for joining me today. Drop your location and your name in the comments so I get to meet you. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we're talking about execution. We're talking about why execution is fiction, right? Why your brain escapes the reflex and the anchor system. These are the frameworks we're going to discuss today. These are the frameworks we're going to discuss today. So the comfort reflex and the anchor system. Execution is fiction. Why your brain escapes the stress of real growth. Let's go. So let's talk about something that we all do. This is something that we all do. Everybody does this. And you can't keep doing this. So let's talk about it. We rarely admit it. You sit at your desk with a massive mapping out a business plan, closing a complex contract, sending that grant application. But instead of actually starting, you decide you need a clean slate. So what do? The next 45 minutes tidying your desk, coding your calendar, then another hour researching a new project management tool. Because this time your system must be perfect. But by the end of the day, you're exhausted. Your workspace looks incredibly tidy and you have absolutely achieved nothing of substance. Drop a thumbs up if you have been there. Drop a thumbs up in the comments if you have been there. I have been there. I'm going to be honest with myself. I have been there. Right? So you have done absolutely nothing of substance because what you had planned in your calendar to do, you haven't even started. You haven't even scratched the surface. So give me a thumbs up in the comments if I just described you. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if I location in the live stream. I would like to meet you, right? So here is the trick. You don't feel guilty because, well, I wasn't doom scrolling on TikTok or on Instagram, right? You say to yourself, I don't feel guilty, like I'm not guilty of anything. But guess what? You are actually working on a business strategy. You tell yourself, I was actually working on a business strategy to have a good laugh. Yes. So what did you do? It's called productive procrastination, and it's the most dangerous trap for high achievers. It's called what? Productive procrastination, and it's the most dangerous trap for high achievers. Why? Because you just yourself a lie. You said that you're not doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. And besides, we're looking for a perfect tool that you can use to productivity, right? And you just go on and on telling yourself those lies, but you didn't really do what you had planned to do. You didn't execute on that goal that was written in your calendar. 10 a.m. I'm going to write in my manuscript. 9 a.m. I'm going to exercise. 9 p.m. I'm going to work on that business contract. So do you see why it's called productive procrastination? Let's go along. So you are using strategy as a highly sophisticated path to hiding, as a hiding place, a highly sophisticated hiding place, because you were planning, you were working on that project, you were looking you just told yourself a lie. So execution requires vulnerability, exposure, and the real risk of failure. You're using a strategy as a highly sophisticated hiding place where planning feels safe with 100% success rate. This is not a character flaw, right? I'm here to tell you that this is not a character flaw. Okay, let me take a 5-second break. Share this link with anyone you know struggles with execution and deals with procrastination. Share this link with them so they can also come here and learn just the way you are learning, right? And then see, drop a comment telling me where you're joining from. If this is your first time, join me. So let's move along. So what was I saying? I said that execution requires vulnerability, exposure, and the real risk of failure. This is not a character flaw, it's an evolutionary design. It's an evolutionary design, right? In neuroscience, your brain has a region called ACC. In neuroscience, your brain has a region called ACC. It's called anterior cingulate cortex. Anterior cingulate cortex. What does it do? Think of it as your brain's internal accountant, right? Its job is to run a constant subconscious cost benefit analysis. It's your brain's internal accountant, and its job is to run a subconscious cost benefit analysis. So it calculates the exact amount of metabolic energy a task would require versus the immediate emotional payout. Can you see why your brain is not wired to help you execute? Yeah, so let's move along. When you look at a massive complex project, your ACC, that's your anterior cingulate cortex. Remember, I said that it's like your internal accountant, your brain's accountant, internal accountant, right? So ACC registers that enormous cognitive effort as an immediate loss. ACC registers that enormous that target, that that you're going to execute or work on. It registers it as an enormous cognitive effort and as an immediate loss with no guaranteed survival reward. Are you with me? Can you see the reason why you have to move past willpower? Yeah, so it usually calculates the effort as a threat to your energy reserves because your brain is trying to conserve all the energy that it has so you can focus on some other task. Yes, but there's a better way to go about it. So it literally calculates the effort as a threat to your energy reserves. So to keep you safe and comfortable, your brain throws a cognitive detour. To keep you safe and comfortable, your brain throws a cognitive detour. It steps away from the high risk, high effort execution and nudges you toward a low risk, immediate reward task like refining your detailed roadmap. Can you see what it's doing? Because it's seeing that project that you've written as a threat. It launches a cognitive detour. So it will tell you, do this instead of this project that you have decided to work on. Your brain is not broken. I hope you understand what's happening here. Your brain is not broken. It's just running an outdated survival script, right? Can build a vision or lead an organization on a we're breaking this down today. We're treating it today. How to out account your own brain and break through the initial 15-minute wall of resistance, shifting you from brilliant planners to relentless executors. Are you with me? Let me see your comments in the comment section. Let me know where you're joining me from so I can meet you, your name and your location, and tell me if this has been valuable to you. Okay, so there are three sections to this live stream. and I'm going to begin is navigating the 15 minutes fiction gap. Focus is not a mood you wait for, it's a physical transition. Focus is not a mood you wait for, it's a physical transition. When you transition from a resting state or a low level task to deep strategic execution, your brain experiences a temporary surge of stress hormones like cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and that is called the friction gap. When your brain experiences a temporary surge of stress hormones, this is called the friction gap. It feels like boredom, mild anxiety, or a sudden urge to literally do anything else aside what you have set in your calendar to do. Are you with me? So most people assume that if they feel resistance to something they want to do, to a project they've set in their calendar to work on, or a goal or a target that they have, they feel that they aren't in the right headspace to work. But that's not true. That's not true. This is a simple biological cost of admission to deep focus. Remember, your brain craves comfort. So my goal is to help you develop a brain that craves deep work, right? Build and develop a brain that craves deep work. Because of neuroplasticity, you can learn anything, you can change your bad habits, you can be a different right? Work. It takes discipline. It takes action bias. You have to be determined to shift from where you are to where you want to go, and it will cost you something. It will cost you something. Remember when we talked about excruciating growth? Yes, you can't get to where you want to get to with the habits that you currently have. Okay, so let's move along. So during these 15 minutes, you are allowed to write poorly, think slowly, or do nothing, or to check your phone, or to do something aside what you have planned to do. Once the ACC realizes that you're backing down, the chemical friction subsides. Friction subsides. Once it sees that you're not backing down, the chemical friction subsides. And what happens next? Dopamine drops in, which is the reward persistent. Dopamine drops in, the feel good hormone, right? And the momentum takes over around the 16th minute. So your goal is to stay long enough up until the 16th minute when momentum takes over. So the friction gap would always occur when you want to start something that you're not normally used to. That friction gap would always occur, but see through that difficult 15 minutes, and then at the 16th minute, momentum kicks in. Because when your ACC knows that you're not backing down, it gives you that feel good hormone. It releases dopamine, which helps you to put in the deep work, the focus that you need. Deep helps you to put in the work, the pardon me, helps you to put in the effort to execute on that goal. So let me see your comments in the comment section. We're going moving on to section 2 now, which is lowering the cognitive load. Micro outputs. Excuse me. Yes. Okay. You get it later. Section 2. When you write work, when you write work on financial strategy or launch new program on your to-do list, your brain your brain reads that as an unkillable monster. When you write launch new program, work on financial strategy, those ambiguous words, your brain reads that as an unkillable monster. The ambiguity kills execution before you even pick up your pen. The ambiguity kills execution before you even pick up your pen. And Dr. BJ Fox talked about this in Behavior Design Models. And he says that human action requires three things simultaneously. Human action requires three things simultaneously. I called it MAP. motivation, ability, and a prompt. Dr. J.B. Fox said that human action requires three things concurrently before you can move towards execution, and I call it MAP. First is motivation, the second is ability, and the third is prompt. So when motivation is low, because a task feels heavy, and of course you've written that ambiguous goal in your calendar, you must radically increase your ability to make the task absurdly simple. Recall we talked about activation energy, the heavy lifting of that first phase, the rest is easier. Action step here, the first milestone command: strip ounce of ambiguity from your priority task. Instead of scheduling, write proposal, give your brain an undeniable brain dead physical command. Are you with me? Give your brain an open Google Docs and type the client's name at the top of the page. Open Google Docs and type the client's name at the top of the page. Can you see? You've given your brain a command and it's easier to execute that. Or write 3 bullet points summarizing the main goal. So by shrinking this target, you bypass the brain's internal alarm system. By doing this, you bypass your brain's internal alarm system and you bypass the friction to start, which is always the heaviest lift. You bypass the friction to start, which is always the heaviest lift, right? So I've talked about your 15-minute fiction map gap and how to overcome that. I've also talked about lowering the cognitive load and how to overcome that. Moving on now, we are discussing engineering out the choice, which are your structural anchors. So what do you do here? Relying on willpower is not the best strategy, right? Relying on willpower to execute high friction tasks is a losing strategy. Relying on willpower to execute losing strategy. Willpower is a fluctuating resource heavily impacted by three things: decision fatigue, blood sugar, and sleep. DBS. I'm giving you these acronyms so you remember, right? DBS, decision fatigue, blood sugar, and sleep. Willpower is a fluctuating resource heavily impacted by DBS, decision fatigue, blood sugar, and sleep. If you leave your comfort will win every time. So what do you do? Elite executors do not possess superhuman control. Elite executors do not possess superhuman self-control. What did they do? Focus on choice architecture. They redesign their environment. They focused on choice architecture by redesigning the environment. So how do they do this? They design superior environments that make distraction highly inconvenient. So your action step here, reverse the friction. Reverse the friction. If it takes one click to open a distracting app, but 10 steps to get back to your work, you will default to the distraction. So your goal here is to reverse the friction. If you struggle with phone distractions, put the phone in another room before your deep work block begins. If you struggle with staying on a task, use a website blocker. These things are simple. Use a website blocker. If you struggle with staying on a task, use a website blocker to lock yourself out of everything except your primary tool. You need social accountability. Set a calendar and invite a friend to a call where both of you are online but it's muted. You're not speaking, you're just working. And this is where I talk about my program, right? The 90-day deep dive execution accelerator, Unstoppable Me. What do we do? Through a 90-day period, I hold your hands to your to work on your projects day in day out. Every day you are showing up, you are moving the needle, you are doing something. It's intense. 90 days deep dive execution, right? 90 days deep dive execution accelerator. Cohort 6 is currently running, and cohort 7 will begin on the 17th of August 2026. So you want to lock that down. The description, the waitlist link will be dropped in the description, so you get in if you want to set up an accountability system for yourself that will turbocharge your execution, right? Okay, so let's move ahead. So your goal is to make the distraction harder to access than the work itself. Make the distraction harder to access than the work itself. Moving on to section 4, the sovereign block. We're implementing the sovereign block now. So the modern workplace is not really designed to, the modern workplace is a machine designed to fragment your attention and focus. So if you let your inbox, your team, or notifications dictate the flow to your morning, you will spend your entire life reacting to other people's priorities. Dust. You will spend your entire life working on other people's priorities while your own needle moving projects, right? So high level execution requires cognitive depth. And every time you switch away from a complex task to check a quick text, a remnant of your attention still call attention residue, and it destroys your processing power. This is what behavioral psychologists call attention residue, and it destroys your processing power. We're wrapping up now. So, what's your plan? The unassailable 90 minutes. We want to set up the unassailable 90 minutes. Carve out a 90-minute block during your peak energy hours, ideally first thing in the morning. Carve out a 90-minute block during your peak energy hours, ideally first thing in the morning before the world wakes up, right? Before the world wakes up. So during this block, your email is closed, your phone is completely out of sight, and your notifications are muted or dead, literally. If you hit a creative wall or a difficult problem during this 90 minutes, you do not escape to an easier task. You sit right there. Look at the problem and allow yourself to feel the discomfort of being stuck. That discomfort is necessary, is needed. You are training your mind to understand that running away is no what it's been like for you. Let me know, get to meet you. Let me know where you're joining from. If this is your first time joining my live stream, I want to meet you. And drop your questions in the comments as well if you have any. So wrapping up now, we're going to take a quick action. Yeah, we're going to do a quick activity. I want you to take a look at your current calendar or your desktop right now, your laptop, your device, whatever it is. How many beautiful high finished strategies are you currently sitting on? Because you are waiting for the perfect moment or the right burst of motivation. Let me hear from you. How many of those unfinished strategies are on your devices right now? I want to read from you, right? Let me know, let me know, let me know. And this is a no judgment zone class. Just let me read from you. Let me know what it's been like for you. Let me know your pain points, how difficult it's been working on projects and really executing. So, While I wait for that, let me move on. Motivation is a luxury, execution is a discipline. Motivation is a luxury, execution is a discipline. Stop hiding behind your plans and endless planning hours. Stop hiding behind your plan, behind strategy moments, periods, behind. If this resonates deeply, I want a psychological contract with yourself right here in the live stream. You will type this in the comments for me and I will read it, right? Remember, we take affirmations at the end of our live stream so you take action, right? My strategy is complete. I'm built to handle the fiction. I sit down, I face the work, and I lead. Again, my strategy is complete. My execution is non-negotiable. I am built to handle the fiction. I sit down, I face the work, and I lead. Thank you for joining me today. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. You are the real champion, right? Let me take a quick recap. So today we talked about execution being friction, why your brain escapes stress of real growth, the comfort reflex, and the anchor system. So I took you through the friction gap, what you need to do, right? Understanding that your brain is not broken, it's just running an outdated survival script, and you cannot scale a vision or lead an organization on a survival script. So section 1, we talked about navigating the 15-minute friction gap. What do? You commit to that work. We want to keep that momentum, that we want to struggle through the first 15 minutes so that momentum kicks in the 16th minute. The next second section we talked about was how to lower the cognitive load, right? Brain needed physical command so that it's easy to really execute on that. Open Google Docs and type the client's name at the top of the page. That's so simple to execute. And then the next section was talking about engineering the out choice, building structural anchors, where you don't just rely on willpower because it's a losing strategy. You don't just you redesign, right? You redesign your space so that you have attention residue in different tasks like applications, text messages, open tabs here and there. Just your attention is fragmented here and there. No, we don't want that. Fixing that. And we talked about the attention residue, that it destroys processing power. Moving on, we decided that we need to fix that unassailable 90 minutes. So you're carving out that 90 minutes during your peak energy hours. First thing, very first thing in the morning before the real world wakes up to distract you or to disturb you. And we took our final closeout affirmation. My strategy is complete. My execution is non-negotiable. I am built to handle the fiction. I sit down, I face the work, and I lead. And I also talked about Unstoppable Me, the 90-day deep dive execution accelerator. For 90 days, 12 weeks, you come in, moment right into actually feel it, you can touch it, you can see and measure progress and growth on that particular project that you've been stalling on from the beginning of the year. Thank you for joining today. I don't see any questions. Let me check the comments.